Here.
Mr. Janice.
Here.
Mr. White.
Here.
Mr. Monahan.
Here.
Supervisor Finley.
Here. Okay, public input. Public input, first up we have Kerry Luzon. Am I saying that correct?
Yes.
Kerry Luzon.
This is where I'm speaking to? Okay.
Yes, you can move the mic down so we have it on the record. Just state your name if you would also.
Okay, my name is Carrie Luzon. I'm a teacher in the North Rockland School District. I'm also a resident in the town of Stony Point. I know, Mr. Finn, a letter was brought to your attention today.
I knew I recognized the name.
Yes, and I'm not sure why it just got to you, well, I know why it got to you today, because I called, but I actually hand-delivered it to Town Hall in January, so I know this is rushed, and I really appreciate you guys discussing it tonight. We're looking for support for our students' participation in the Scripps National Spelling Bee. I kind of overheard a little bit of discussion, and I know you were questioning, don't we have to go to a regional bee first? Well, our district bee is actually taking the place of the regional bee. In the past, we used to fall under the sponsorship of the Northern New Jersey Regional Spelling Bee. They dropped Rockland County this year, so we find ourselves without a sponsorship. Our students have been so successful in this in the past. We actually swept the Northern New Jersey Regional Spelling Bee last year.
Might be one of the reasons why you got dropped.
Our North Rockland students came in first, second, and third. So this is a really big deal to us, and this is a successful endeavor that our students have participated in the past. And our North Rockland student actually came in 33rd last year in the National Spelling Bee. Thank you for your consideration.
We are going to add this, not to interrupt, we're going to add this to an agenda item. It will be the first agenda item after we do
Great.
a public input. And just a story, I remember sitting watching on ESPN. I don't remember who it was, but it was I believe it was a girl in one of my son's classes. And that's going back a few years ago, I thought.
She was there last year, she was the year before, and the year before that.
So we're very proud to have a great deal that go that far. So I don't think it's going to be a problem here tonight. We do have to vote on it. Okay?
Thank you, and my contact information is there. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So do we have students that, because we don't have a regional or a district level B, they're going to the national?
We do have we don't have the regional B anymore, so our district B is taking the place of the regional B.
And this is the district?
That is the district B. On February 24th, we'll be having our district-wide B. We've already held school-wide spelling bees, so we have our finalists. So we're guaranteed to send a student to Washington, and we cannot go to Washington without a sponsorship. This $3,250 that we have to raise isn't fluff. It isn't to make their week more fun. This is a requirement.
How many students are covered by the 3250?
One student and a chaperone, which Scripps dictates that it really needs to be a parent.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you for clearing that up, because we did have some questions about it. It's nice to have you here. We appreciate you coming. Next, we have Mark Johnson. Not the Mark Johnson from the 1980 Olympic team.
No, not the same one. There are a lot of us out there. Mark Johnson, 205 Battalion Drive. Last time I had a pair of skates on, did more damage to my knees than the ice. I wanted to say thank you. I'm not sure that anybody has for the event back in early January that Supervisor Finn and the council helped coordinate with TRI and MDE concerning the gasification plant. I thought it was a good event. I thought there was a great turnout. And I thought somebody should say thank you for that event.
Appreciate it.
Well, we all appreciate that, and we thank everyone for coming out. And we had over 300 people there, as you know, and we were there, and it was a very interesting night. And I'm going to talk to my supervisor's address a little more about that.
Good, thank you. I've been following the MPE website that was introduced that night and the town site, and I've seen no signs of answers to any of the questions that were not addressed that night, or no publication of those that were for people who were not there. And so I'm wondering if you had any further information or contact with TRI and MPE, or have a sense of what the timeline might look like moving forward, just so we begin to get a sense. And I'm wondering if there might be time from meeting to meeting where we just begin to clarify what an open and transparent process looks like, what our shared expectations are. I want to thank you again for the evening and just hear if we've heard anything more or what our expectations should be moving forward.
And I promise you, I'll discuss that as soon as I get to my supervisor report, okay? Anthony Licardi. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, thank you. Anthony and Rose Licardi, 15 Skinner Court, Conference Code, New York. 30 years this July living here. Had a situation over the last 2 weeks, 2 mailboxes being knocked down by the plow. My original one went down. I went to the, I voted for this man. He's a nice guy, Larry. I'm not trying to derogate him in any way. And one of the fellows, they told me, we have mailboxes, we'll give you one because this happens. And I explained to him, I have a 2-foot stump in the ground that's cemented in the ground. Luckily, that wasn't ripped out of the ground. I just picked up another one and bolted on myself. So I went and did it Sunday. Monday morning, here comes a plow, takes the next mailbox off. That's 2 mailboxes. So I went and got another one, put it on. I gave Larry the 2 receipts, and I got a phone call back from him this afternoon saying, the state says we can only pay for one. I'd like that to be explained to me. What does the state have to do with the guy knocking over 2 of my mailboxes?
I think the answer, Mr. Briss, I'll give that to Mr. Briss because I can't answer that myself.
The state says we don't have to replace the mailbox. It's not our job.
I could throw it in my 2 cents.
We replace them with regular mailboxes. You wanted a special one, that's fine. But I can't pay for 2 mailboxes. I'll pay for 1, I'm not going to pay for 2. We don't have to pay for any. We do. Courtesy.
I do know that is state law. That is state law that the town doesn't have to, or the county, or the state, or wherever it's doing it, whether it be IW or any other street. But as a courtesy, the town of Stony Point has always replaced the mailbox with the basic mailbox, I guess. I mean, I don't know what kind you had, so. I actually drove by your house last night looking for it, but I think you put it up again last night, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so. But that being said, Mr. Brisson was very upset about this. Yesterday morning, he was in my office with,
I stopped to see
Board
more
member.
about it.
So we were discussing this and coming up with ideas on how to avoid this in the future. It's a shame that twice in a week or within 2 weeks that you've lost 2 mailboxes. Unfortunately, usually when we have a heavy snow, I can see it. Unfortunately, we don't know what happened. We're talking to the driver. It happens often.
I
It's not
understand.
just there.
It's a new driver,
But-
old guy retired, and obviously this guy, he's not that good at what he's doing.
Well,
It never happened in 30 years, but it happened twice in a week.
It's definitely a concern. We're going to be talking, I know Mr. Brisson is always on top of his drivers. I don't want to say he doesn't know what he's doing, because I don't think that's the case.
Nope.
Mistakes do happen, and unfortunately it happened to you twice. But we are working on it, it's not forgotten, and if we could do some, I don't know, I do know the law is that we don't have to pay for them, but Mr. Brisson is offering to pay for the 1 mailbox. That's it, the mailbox that we normally put on, is what you're saying?
Well, he went and bought it already, so I'll pay for
Yeah,
it.
the mailbox you would want to put on is impossible because I had a stump 2 feet coming out of the ground and cemented. How you did that, you'd have to replace a post. You'd be able to machine ripping up the ground. That won't happen until April. And here I am running back and forth to the post office, getting my mail every day. I mean, I just totally don't think it's fair that 2 mailboxes get knocked out. That's just the way it is.
Excuse me, sir, what was the cost of the mailbox?
One is $63. As a matter of fact, the second one I bought is not the same one. It has no newspaper hanger on the bottom. It was the only one I could get they had left. And that's the one I put in. So we're talking 63 for one, about 50 for two. I don't mind putting them on myself. I don't want to inconvenience them, and, but it's just a question of, I thought it was fair that somebody, take the money.
Mr. Licardi, right? Mr. Licardi, if you could just give us a few days, we are still in discussions about this with Foreman and Superintendent Brissing about the project. We're going to be speaking to getting the exact information. So if you could just give us a few days, we're not going to sit here and say we're not paying for it, but we can certainly work on it and hopefully come to some kind of agreement, okay?
I do appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you.
And I don't want to say this in a bad way, but when you went to look for that mailbox, you know why they're not finding it anymore? Because this is happening. Because it's happening all over. It's a shame, but it is happening all over. But we'll make sure that we'll come to some kind of conclusion and we're all happy.
I do appreciate that.
No problem. Thank you. George Patanovic?
Good evening, town board members. George Patanovic, 597 Old Gatesville Road, and president of Space. The town board has decided to continue the sign law public hearing at the next town board meeting, which is next Tuesday, February 28th. And I'd like to, this has been on the agenda now for quite some time, I think at least maybe a few months, where there was little or no activity for a while. And so I think anyone who might have been interested in it will have long since probably forgotten that it was on the agenda. So I'm here tonight asking that the town board, in the interest of public information, make some effort to send out a press release or to renew some kind of a notice to the public that there will be a public hearing on the sign law revisions and that there are changes that have been proposed by the town so that people will be aware that it is on the agenda for the next public hearing, February 28th. Thank you.
Thank you, George. I don't see why we can't. We're going to be actually setting a public hearing for the 24th, which is next week, on our agenda for the waterfront. So I don't see a reason why we can't add that in there as well. Clerk, you believe that's right? Okay. Thank you. And then we have an in on here. Where's Alice? I'm not even going to try the last name because I can't read it right.
It's Elise, it's okay, it's lovely.
What is it?
Elise Ingram, actually.
Elise Abram?
Elise Ingram.
Just state that into the mic so they have it for the
It's Elise Ingram, actually. I just wanted to thank you, Supervisor Finn. I called your office today regarding an 80-year-old woman in Stony Point who had no power in her house for 2 days. And our oil company wasn't ready to put her on. They weren't even thinking of driving up there. And your office got involved immediately and took care of my client. I just wanted to thank you and your office for that.
I'd love to sit here and take the credit, but it must have been my assistant.
It was Bernadette.
Okay, great. So she'll be very happy to hear that. Because I would love to sit here and take the credit, but I'm sure she's going to watch that video over there if I take the credit for it. But we have a great staff in the town hall every day that does this kind of work, and it's nice to hear the thanks. So we really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm glad it all worked out.
Thank you.
Okay. That is in a public hearing, public input, I'm sorry. I'll read this as, I was going to save it from my, I'm not going to save it, but I just got a text. Tickets for Dancing with the Teachers go on sale, 211, if you want to go. That's North Rockland. Shows at 227 and 228. See that? On the minute, business is coming. Okay. I'll tell you more about it later on. Okay. Purchase order requests. I believe they're going through here. I know there was some discussions, but I think we've answered them all. Okay.
Just, didn't we already vote on the carpet for the senior room?
We voted on it as an agenda item, but it still has to go through when we're purchasing it.
Oh, okay.
And we are waiting, we're purchasing it now. We're about 3 weeks away from our final restrooms being done. So we don't want to put anything on hold, obviously. They're complete, it's a mess over there right now.
I'll second the
So
motion.
yes. Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Order the bills.
Make a motion to accept the bills as submitted.
Thank you, Mr. White. There's been a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes, there's no minutes. Supervisor's report. Just talk about a few things. We have our 6th annual blood drive sponsored by the Stony Point PBA. We're not probably talk about that, but I'm going to be into it. In love memory of Jimmy McNicholas in the Row Building, Patriot Hills, 3 to 9 o'clock on February 23rd. That's a Monday. Jimmy was born and raised in Barneville and attended St. Gregory's, Albertus Magnus, and RCC. He was a son, a brother, an uncle, and a friend until he was killed by a hit-and-run driver in Pearl River on May 31st, 2009. Let's not forget this kind of Rockland man whose killer has still not been found. Join us as we honor Jimmy's love of life by saving the lives of others in need through blood donations, that some good may come of this awful tragedy. So anyone wants information on that, this is on our website as well, I believe. If, matter of fact, I know it is. And we'll have copies available if anybody needs it. Oh, there you go. Stony Point Movie and Rec Day is February 17th. That is at 9:30. Drop off at Kirkbride, and the bus is leaving for the theater at 10 a.m. This is when school is out. And if you need information on this, it's 947-5261, and that is our recreation department. So a good thing to do while the kids are off. And I just wanted to talk about 2 articles I cut out today out of the newspaper. One, because I received a lot of phone calls and questions about this was in the, I think it was in, I'm assuming the Journal News today, I read the Daily also. Final property tax rebate checks in the mail, that's what it's telling me. I've been telling people since, early November, that they're out there, they're coming, they're coming, they're coming. I didn't get it either, but a lot of people have received it already, but final property tax rebate checks in the mail. So we have to call the state now, because they've already promised us so many times. Susan, you're gonna like this one. Senators want more input on pipeline project. Gillibrand and Schumer write what's that? Yeah, so this was in today's paper as well. So it's funny how they waited until after the comment period. And you know my position on this, so I'm not saying, listen, I can say, oh, forget it. But I would be more interested in knowing where they were when we were looking for help on Chippy. And it's very, I know that's a sore subject for Susan, but, to come out a year after, on this, a year after our public input and everything else, they can't really do it. They want to talk about it, but it would have been nice to have them here protecting us with Chippy as well. So I just thought that was interesting.
Can I just add to your sin?
I will let you add to the thing because you were not here for public
I'm
input.
sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, I will accept it.
Sorry.
Because you weren't here, and that's fair. You're here every meeting, and wouldn't be the same without you.
Susan Ferris, 87 Lockford Road. I'm sorry, I was taking care of family business. To answer the Gillibrand and Senator Schumer, it's very nice to see that they can say something, when in fact, all of the public comment period is closed. Their input has no value to any of us as a community because legally, it's finished. So maybe when we vote next time, we seriously need to consider what lever we're pushing when we vote for our United States Senators. Done with that subject, but I really seriously think we ought to start voting the way we're taken care of. The next is, we have had 2 meetings of the, who can say it, Cheryl, that committee. Happy birthday to Stony Point. Frank Collier has designed, I've been sending it out to the committee, I'll send it to the supervisor if he wants to put it out there, he can. It's a bang-up logo, but it has to be finalized, so we'll send it to the committee chair, Mr. Vasili. The theme of what we're doing for our 150th year is we know from whence we came, we know where we're standing, but where are we going to go? We need to support each other and pay it forward. And that's the way we're going to celebrate our 150th birthday. We are going to become part of the community and the events that are going. The fire people persons, as I call them, very generously invited the committee to be part of Wayne Day. I haven't figured it out yet, they're going to tell us, but we're going to be there and we're going to add. We need to speak to the PBA guys who did that beautiful thing this summer. I know one of the committee, but we haven't gotten together. We are, and I'm very excited about this, so I'm going to try not to get too excited. We are going to host on May 4th, co-host with the Havaser Arts and Alliance, the United States Air Force Band at the North Rockland High School. It's very appropriate considering that we fought one of the decisive battles of the American Revolution. And we believe, the young man Michael from the Lighthouse believes that there may be a fife and drum number that is specific to Stony Point. So we've sent him off to see if he can find that number so we can give it to we'll surprise them, the Air Force guys, and see if they'll play it for the infantry. But we're going to do that. We are working on, it may not happen this year, but we're going to try a geocaching, I think it's called, type of scavenger hunt. So Karen Ann is, she's gone, but Karen Ann and Jennifer Lima are in charge of that. I won't put you on the spot, Jim, but we may get a 5K in this year. I'm hoping Jim Monahan, our council person, can get that going. Our town clerk's wonderful church is celebrating, I may add a year or two, not to Joan, no, 180-year birthday. And they have graciously said that they will do some tours of the church with their history and the cemetery, which is really the founding families of Stony Point. So basically, what we're looking to do is tell the community we're here. We want to be part of you. It has to be all finalized and approved by those 5 gentlemen sitting up there. But we're moving along. Anyone who wants to come to the meeting on Thursday at 6 o'clock here in the Row Building, we'll be meeting again. Now, the Lighthouse has committed to doing something. They're not sure what yet, but we're going to work it out. And Jeff, I have a question. Do we have a charter? Do we have a physical copy of the charter of the town of Stony Point?
Joan would know that better than I would.
It's transcribed from the minutes.
Okay.
So that's a yes.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Can we get one of those? So there's other things coming and going. We've spoken to Mr. Schassler. The winter has been very hard on our seniors, so we're hoping this snow goes away sometime soon so they can come out and participate. But again, anybody who would like to join is more than welcome. And we do have hopes that we will, and we believe we're going to, or Mr. Javanez is going to find a hole to bury me in, finish the Pinchon School so we can open it and celebrate ourselves as well. We've just hit a little bit of a stumbling block, but we believe we're going to keep moving right on through that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, just to finish my report, 2 things. New Plan Mr. Johnson is still here. I had a brief meeting the other day with members from New Plan Energy in my office. They stopped by after a meeting up in DEC with DEC, and they came home very excited about it and thought it went well. So they are moving forward. They do not have a date set yet for the first public hearing. However, we have been told that we can pretty much go out and start answering all the questions that people have. We were kind of not avoiding it, but allowing DEC, they're going to be the lead agency in this, so we had to be very careful what we said. But going forward, yes, all intentions right now, they're probably putting it together to get it out on the website, the answers to all the questions that were asked. And going forward, we're going to try and work and form some kind of committee or something that's going to help communication between the townspeople, when I say the town board, townspeople, and New Clean Energy itself. We want to be part of this, but we don't want anyone to think that this town board or anyone else is pushing something on people. We think it's a great idea. We think it's a great rateable. We think it can work for this community, but we want the community to be involved in this, and we're going to be working very closely with everyone involved. So DEC is giving us, I don't want to say permission, but allowing New Clean Energy to go out and start answering these questions, and that's the only reason we were holding up. We didn't want to interfere with what they were going to be doing in their public hearings. Okay? And also, I wanted to congratulate the Polar Point, the Stony Point Seals, who had a great showing on Super Bowl Sunday. There was over 300 people that jumped into the water. And I don't have a number yet, but I know they raised quite a bit of money. I know last year was over 40,000. The year before that was almost 60,000. So we're hoping for somewhere in the middle of that. I think their goal was 50 this year. But again, we'll have a number probably hopefully by next meeting. And they just do a great job every year, so our hats off to them and everyone involved, whether it be our highway department, our parks department, all of our volunteers, our volunteer fire department, our ambulance. I believe the firehouse puts about 7 or 8 divers out into the water to make sure. And they actually, their first job this year was to push icebergs away so people could get into the water. That's how cold it really was. But a great job, police department. I don't want to forget anybody, but everyone that was involved, just such a great job, and we thank them. And on a very good note, normally we would close meetings in honors of people that have passed away, that are close to the town. However, tonight, and this is the second one in 2 months, we have a 100-year birthday. It was February 1st. Mr. Severio James Martello turned 100 on February 1st, so we were going to be closing this meeting in his honor for celebrating his 100-year anniversary. We tried to get him here, but just with the weather and everything else, he couldn't make it. But I will be sending this in the mail. I know we did send him a birthday card as well. So congratulations, happy birthday to Mr. Martello. And just a reminder that we will be closing tonight's meeting in his honor. I believe that is it. And there is a few things that we're going to be, there's 2 items that we're going to be adding, so I'll do them first when we get to it. One of them being the school spelling bee. Okay, police department report, Chief Moore?
Thank you, Supervisor, members of the town board. You have before you the monthly report for the month of January 2015. Number of calls for service was 752. Number of reported accidents were 30. Number of arrests were way up, 93. 44 felonies, 33 misdemeanors, 16 violations. A lot of drug arrests all month and right through to February. Again, it's still continuing. Fuel usage 1,487.1. 196 traffic enforcement summonses, 6 youth officer sponsored events. We had 2 Explorer meetings, a PAL meeting. We held 2 recreation nights up at Kirkbride, 1 youth corps training session, and we continue to do our regular checks of schools for their safety. We had 2 child safety seat installations. We ran 1 commercial vehicle enforcement detail. We had 112 hours of training, and the total fees collected was $119.25. Sit on the police report. Time record.
Motion to accept the chief's time record.
Second motion.
Okay, it's been a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. And then sign, Chief.
Thank you. Okay, you should also have the department overtime report and sick leave reports.
It's so nice to look at it early in the year, beginning of the year. That's a big number at the end.
I thought it was the color black they like versus the color red.
I'll make a motion to accept the overtime and sick leave reports.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. The next item up is the National New York Tactical and Crisis Negotiations conferences held up in Verona, New York. This is out of my training budget. This is send 2 officers up to Verona, New York to attend the conference. The fee for the conference and the hotel is being paid out of our, by the County of Rockland, out of our assessment fee for the REACT team. I'm going to send 2 of our crisis negotiators up there. So the cost to us is the per diem for meals and just the use of the car and fuel. Estimate that at $270 for the 2.
Excellent. Make a motion to send.
Second.
Two officers. There's been a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is the Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance training. What this is we run a commercial vehicle enforcement unit. We've had a number of people over the years, probably about 2 decades in. One of the last ones in the county, they're still running it with the state, and this is a federal program. So we would put the officer, brand new officer in for what's called level 1 training. There's part A and part B. Normally we have to send them up to the Massachusetts State Police Academy. However, in our discussions with New York State DOT, they're actually hosting one in Albany at the State Police Academy. So the first one is part A. That's the March 9th through the 13th. If he's successful on those days, then he would be allowed to go to part B, which was the April 13th to the 17th. Well, all of the training would be at the State Police Academy. So the training is free. So we have the cost of the meals and the hotels for 5 nights in Albany. So it's $775 for the week, all inclusive for that per week that would be. And again, this is all out of my training budget.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, the next Next item is for the supervisor for his signature. This is an annual contract for reimbursement for stop DUI enforcement with the town of Stony Point and the county of Rockland. Our share this year will be $3,078.88. This would allow the supervisor to enter into this agreement to receive reimbursement every time we run a DUI detail.
Excellent. You need a motion for that, right? I'll make a motion to sign the contract. Well, if someone really should, I'll sign it.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, there's a motion.
Second.
In a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Give your- there, two. One. Two. Okay? Thank you, Chief. I believe that's all you have, right?
Yes, I just have an item for executive session
Yes.
for you, that's all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Before I go further, I actually forgot to mention something about in my supervisor report. I was reminded when I heard the phone ringing that we had a big congratulations that day also. There's a couple in the room today that celebrated their 50th anniversary together on Super Bowl Sunday. And I see them sitting in the back of the room there. It's June and Doug Johnson, so great congratulations. I would have forgotten if your phone wasn't going off back here. But congratulations. Okay. Golf course report, Dave, well, there's not much going on, at the golf course, I know that right now, with 2 feet of snow on it. But I know Joe's here because there's a few things on the agenda. Departmental reports have all been handed in, I'm assuming, and no correspondence? No correspondence. Okay, the public hearing, as you can see, is the 28th, so that's, oh yeah, that's the 24th, I should say. That's all we had to do, was go out, put a nice press release out, and put the wrong date. But 24th, we have it. Okay, and before I get into number one, I'm going to do the added items that I want to add. I just don't want to forget them, so we're going to do the one first. Find it. It's here, I got it, there. Yeah, you got it. Thank you. Okay, there's a request from the North Rockland School District, and we heard from Ms. Luzon tonight, it's up here, and requesting, this is, as you heard, I don't have to give too much information about it, because we just got it, but a great thing for young children to go out and represent North Rockland. We're very proud to do this, so make a motion to donate a total of $500 to the North Rockland Central School District for this event.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much for coming and explaining. We wish we could give you the whole thing, but
No,
you know, it's tough.
thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. We thank you.
Just go out and win.
Represent. You guys always do. Thank you. Okay. And the second add-on I would like to add is a motion. Joe, I'll give you the paperwork on that too. I have. This will be a motion. I would like to schedule a public hearing for the proposed zoning amendments to permit mixed-use developments in the PW zoning district for February 24th at 7 p.m. at our town board meeting. We'll be considering adopting the draft 3 EAF and negative deck at that meeting, and those documents will be made available on the town website by the end of this week. I will have that paperwork to you as well.
So moved.
Okay, there's been a motion.
Oh, the check.
Oh, did I? Second. Okay. All right. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and that is the only add-ons. So it's going to be a public hearing, yes. It's a public hearing for the 24th at 7 o'clock. Regular town board meeting. Number one is our tax cert for Baymar. This is from the old owners in 2010, I believe this is. Am I correct, Mr. Beck, when I see our assessor here? For 1 year total of $2,479.41. That's correct. And that is for 1 year at 2010 only, the new owners. That's another battle that down the road we'll probably face because of a lot of damage that was done in Sandy. But this is for the year 2010 for a total of $2,479.41. I know the council gave us a resolution for that, so.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, there's been a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 2 is also a tax cert, and also from a previous owner. This is the Kennedy Trucking Facility that is now Capasso. This is for the year 2010 as well, for a total of $886.56 for the year 2010. Again, this is the prior owner to Mr. Capasso who owns it now. This has been recommended to us from our council and from our assessor as well.
So, second.
Okay, there's been a motion. Wait, motion.
Oh, second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 3 is it's actually good news. Number 3, New York, not the other one's not. New York Horizon Engineering Design. It's an RFQ. Had a visit from New York Horizon this week. Mr. Blankenship, Bill Blankenship, and Lori DeBoard. Susan, you would remember Lori, of course, from the New York Horizon Committee, and they are coming. We were awarded $3 million to come and come up with ways on how to improve our waterfront and safer and build up, so God forbid another storm like Sandy comes in, that we don't have to go through what we've done, or the homeowners down there, business owners. So right now, we've come up with ideas and plans, and we're actually starting to move a little bit. We're looking to go out, and a lot of this work is done through the state, but they're taking the first project, which was Beach Road, where we removed 3 homes, and it was actually 5 taken down total on Beach Road, to improve that, and they come up with ways. So right now, with this request for qualifications was written by the state governor's office, or I can never remember the exact thing, GOSR, Governor's Office of Storm Recovery, which is New York Horizon, and we just have to go out to put this out for qualifications and have it returned by 4 p.m. on March 18, 2015. I know the town clerk has been in contact with each one. We sent all the information that we have to send. And hopefully, we've actually set up bank accounts. A lot of people ask how this is going to be paid for, because the town can actually physically put this money to have these studies done and have this work done in the future. The answer is no to that. We have to open up our separate checking account, which we have done already, and a separate checking account. So the money, when this project right now, I'm guesstimating to be probably between $150,000 to $190,000 for the study and design itself, which is a start, and then after that, we'll start the projects. However, we do not have to put that bill. It would be going into an account. When the bills come in, it comes through a non-interest-bearing account, and it would go straight out. So it's good that we're not having to put this money. We were nervous about having to put, if we did a $3 million project, that we would have to go out and bond $3 million and hope that the state pays us back. As we all know, we're still waiting for some of our school checks to come back. So to wait for $3 million it's a large amount of money. So we're very happy that that's not going to happen. But right now, we're in the early stages, and we just have to go out for the RFQ for engineering design services. I'm told by the state and the governor's office that, GOSR, that they will that we'll probably have 15 to 20 different firms coming in looking for this. So it's good to have competition so we can get the best of the best.
Can we put all this documentation on the website under New York Rising so everybody can see the bids?
We will certainly have it, but we can't put it out until we pass it. Something like that, absolutely.
All right, so I have a question. Have we been guaranteed the $3 million?
Yes, pretty much, yes. We've been awarded $3 million.
Right.
Have we received it yet? No, we have to do the studies, we have to do the...
Because I know the state hired a contractor to come in and then facilitate a bunch of meetings. Then we had a really terrific job done by our local folks to identify projects. That went back to Albany. I'm just trying to get a sense of where we are. That went back to Albany, and now we're going to hire, the state is going to hire another firm to come in and do engineering specs.
No, what happened originally, we had a committee put together, Susan was part of it, it was probably 10 or 12 of us, or maybe a little more, and we came up with ideas and plans on things.
Which
So right
has
now,
to
yes,
all.
but now how they're going to do it, this company is going to come in and say, okay, what we talked about is break wall, what do you call them, break walls. Also, a possibility of elevating Beach Road. There was 5 or 6 different ideas for that street itself. So now they're going to come up with an idea on how to do it at the prices they're going to come in and compete for this.
Okay, but who decides the actual strategy?
Yes.
Is that going to be the town, or are we delegating that to the state?
No. I can send the paperwork that we had to send up this week. We had to, there will be a committee formed of 5 to 6 people, is what I'm told. And again, a lot of this is not done through town board or anything. I mean, well, we put people on it, but Bill Blankenship, I don't know exactly his title, but Bill Blankenship is the guy who's going to run this. He's going to come down and sit with these committee meetings. And once we get these back on March 18th, we would go, this committee with Bill would go through it. There's actually a number system of how you're going to pick the best. I don't know how it is, you can get a score of 100. The highest one will be the one that they're going to recommend we take. So there is a plan on how to do it. I don't have it in front of me, but there is paperwork, whether it be, I don't know, the quickness that can do it, or the availability, there's scores that you
I just
actually
want to make
get.
sure that, people show up to these meetings and our townspeople take this very seriously. And I just hope that this isn't, the state doling out taxpayer money to one contractor after another contractor after another contractor, and then ultimately, we're not getting our project.
Right.
Because the process has now gone on for quite some time. So, I have no problem with this, I just want to voice that. I hope that this is actually going somewhere. And this isn't going to be just, one of 10 other steps in which a lot of people make a lot of money off the taxpayer, but then ultimately, we're not getting what we need here.
Listen, I hear you, and I would certainly hope that they come through with us, but when I have money in that non-interest bearing account is when I'll actually be very, very excited. I'm excited that this is finally starting to move in the right direction, but again, when I see the money, I don't want to say I'll believe it, but I'll be a lot more excited.
Something you may want to know that they did at the very last minute through the last program is just before you were allowed to vote for the projects, after we worked 9 months on everything and everybody showed up for meetings, they handed us non-compete contracts, which placed me in an incredible position because I bid on county and state business. It placed another town member in an extremely delicate situation because he was working in a project in one of the sites. If they're going to demand, and they didn't ask, if they're going to demand that type of documentation from the residents who participate in these committees, then you really need to go and demand that paperwork, those commitments up front, so the people who spend all that time are not blindsided by it.
Right, and again, this is supposed to be a locally driven effort, okay? This is our money.
I wouldn't do it again, not after what they did.
It shouldn't be managed from outside, outside the town.
It could cost me my time. You gotta.
I'm going to make a request, a motion to go out for RFQs for engineering design services for the shore protection against erosion and wave action on Beach Road.
Second motion.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 4, yes.
James Nyko from Capital Markets.
Oh, James is here, okay. I'm going to jump to number 10, so we can get the bonding issues out of the way. Mr. Nyko, you're more than welcome to come up to the microphone if you mind, if you wouldn't mind. And if the board's okay with skipping, because we don't want the board to not consider all for anyone that wasn't here the last couple of weeks, or last couple of meetings, I should say, we've been discussing this for 3 meetings, different ways. We had some conference calls as well, trying to come to an agreement of how we're going to do this, whether bond, ban it, equipment, retirement, and the highway project. So at this time, we'll skip right to number 10. Number 9? No. All right, number 10. It's a 2015 equipment ban/bond. Dan, I'll announce this is for the equipment line that we have, the general funds projects, highway fund projects, sewer fund projects, and golf fund projects that we would normally ban for, but we've come up with some different ideas. I know Mr. White is in this business, and I know we had, I believe Beth is her name?
Yes, it was at Beth Ferguson.
Beth was here, and I want to say why Beth was here, because Mr. Nyko couldn't be here, because we have to congratulate him because he just had a baby son, I believe, correct?
That's correct.
So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
But, Jim, you want to ask some questions?
No, I think we take them together. I think we had a very good conference call. There were a series of questions that the board asked ahead of time. It was this last meeting, he answered the questions from that standpoint. And I think from the purposes of now is I made a recommendation that day. Karen sent the thing this morning. So I think that there's a combination of some of these that we want to put together. They've been treated as separate items up until this point now, but I think my recommendation is to take 3 down as one bond, and then put them together as a single bond, which we just shy about $2 million, but putting the fee in there, and if there's any other discussion of anything else to go in there, there was discussion of something with paving, additional paving. And the other one was a taxable bond, because related to payments on the reserve. That has to be done separately, but it was a bond, so doesn't appear to be any discussion there. The third one was the original refinancing. That was $186,000 savings, that would be separate. So basically, there's 3 different ones that are involved, but overall, depending on what the outcome is of the term of the bond, and we were looking at an annual savings of $150,000 to $180,000. And then I was the first one.
No, that's for the refunding. Jim's talking about the budget impact for 2000.
Yeah. I mean, the questions that arose last time was, one, if we can roll the cost of the bond, cost of the fees into the bond, and the answer was yes. Second of all, the question was related to any of this impact 2015, the answer was no, either the ban on the bond as far as the dollars. And then the implications of what effect it has on future years, in essence, pushing some of the costs off of future years, while we don't have the ratables now. It actually benefits us from a savings, so thereby we can pass that back to the taxpayers and not increase the taxes. So, I don't know if there's, I asked you a question on the phone that day. In the end, if you have any issues with it, we do, I just said 3 different ones and combine it.
Sure. I do think it's important that we look at, each one of the series kind of in a unique way. A couple of them are a little bit separate from the others. For instance, as Steve had mentioned, the refunding bonds itself, has to be kind of its own standalone portion. We have a couple options with, some of the other items that are out there. The equipment that's currently outstanding right now is a note, which is a short-term obligation. That's something that we could, go out and put into a long-term financing. One of the other pieces that's out right now is currently in, again, a short-term bond anticipation note. Now, when we issue those notes, they can only be short-term for a certain amount of time, at which point we have to convert them by law into a long-term serial bond. That portion is up against the timeline right now, so we know that this year we have to bond that piece. So I believe, one of the main questions is, with that equipment ban, do we want to keep doing it in notes as we've done in previous years, or do we want to bond that out into long-term financing and just combine everything together at once? In terms of the, any sort of impact that would be on the fiscal 15 year, your interest payments, your principal payments that would occur 2016 moving forward, we do want to keep in mind cost of issuance items. Issuing bonds can be a little bit more expensive than issuing short-term notes. It's generally because we'll have to approach rating agencies. We may not have to do something like that with bond anticipation notes. And generally speaking, the fees for bond counts and other related services are going to be slightly higher with bonds compared to notes. So, is there any other questions that you have that I can answer?
I have no question. So I think that for purposes of what we're doing, Karen, if you want to take over from the standpoint of recommending, we want to, let's talk about the first one. The first one was the refinancing. That's a separate one. That was originally estimated at $186,000 savings. So if you want to do
that is number 13 on the agenda.
Yeah.
Number 13 on the agenda is a savings of $187,000 for bond refunding of the 2005 series.
So I don't know if there's any comments on that.
But that's a one thing, we can do that right now.
Yeah, that's a
Let's do that and get it over the out of the way.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, there's been a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any more discussion? Okay, so the motion is to, I'll just say bond refunding for $187,000. We all know that.
Yeah, refunding is series 2005.
Correct.
Refunding of the series 2005.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That's one out of the way, 13 is
So you
done.
want to do number 12, which is the bond for the retirement payout?
Yes, so I would make a motion to do the bond, the separate bond retirement payout for $132,000.
It's actually 145.
Oh, it is 145?
Yeah.
Okay, bonding.
Okay.
It's a taxable one, that's why it has to be different, and we're looking at a 10-year term.
Excuse me, which one are we on now?
Number 12.
Number 12, the retirement.
I'm sorry?
So the refunding bond that we just did, which was agenda item number 13, number 12.
We're doing
was the
number 12 right
bond
now.
retirement payout.
Number 13 was $187,000 savings to the taxpayers to refund a 2005.
2005 series
2005.
bond at a lower interest rate.
Lower interest rate.
That's okay. I don't understand why.
We're lowering the interest, we're saving money, we're refinancing our home and saving money.
And we're locking
You're
in.
refinancing loans you currently have at a lower interest rate.
Yes.
You don't buy bonds, right?
That's correct.
Band is, so band is something.
Ban is shorter, 5-year, I believe it's shorter.
Yes,
we're
well, that's what you guys bond here when I was discussing this, so.
We're locking in we're locking in the lower rate.
No, it's not a savings, that's
All right,
the
but-
expected retirement.
We'll explain everything to you after the video, let's get this done. Number 12, there's been
Make a motion, second.
There's been a motion and a second to, for the retirement payout for March 2015 retirement at $145,000 to be bonded. That's the motion.
Yes.
And the second.
Second.
Been a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion
Are
carries.
you doing that for 5 years?
10 years, that is a 10-year bond.
The bond resolution itself calls for 10-year useful life. That's essentially the term that we can finance the maximum. We can finance anything below that. It is a relatively small amount to go to investors with. We'll reach out to them. We can see if 10 years is an option. Given it's such a small amount, they may tell us that it's 5 years. Although the bond resolution says 10 years, it's entirely possible. With the small par amount, also because it'll have to be sold as a taxable series of bonds, they may want to see a shorter period.
We need a resolution.
Can we make it so it's an option? If we can't do the 10, then we do the 5?
We can always go below. So the 10 years that's written into the bond resolution, it's just the maximum you could do. Assuming we were allowed to do, the investors would purchase 10 years, you could do 10 years, 9 years, 8 years, anything below that. It's just 10 is the maximum.
Right,
That's what the bond
but
resolution
we have to
is
do a
here.
resolution at a
Does
it
say
10 minutes?
maximum? Oh, 10-year maximum, okay, I'm sorry.
So did we just pass that bond resolution?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Number 12.
We're skipping around because we're going to be adding 10 and 11 together most likely.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the last motion was to combine item 10, which is the new purchases of 2015, which some of the items are being approved tonight, some of them were approved at the last meeting. Add that with the outstanding capital bond anticipation note that we're proposing to take $787,000 of that, add this to this bond. And then the third piece would be $370,000 related to the garage refinancing, which the term of the period expired as a ban, and we can't do it as a ban. And then taking that plus the cost of whatever, and it's approximately $2 million, the three of them together. And that would be
No. This
no, 3, 10,
The
and 11 is
outstanding-
item number 2 and item number 3. It's 3 pieces making up the bond. It's on item number 10 is $790,000. Item number 11, part 2 is $787. And item number 3 on 11 is $370. And that was, I think I calculated, it was like 1950, something like that. And then we have to put like 30,000 in cost for.
If we got the town elects for zero bonds, then yes,
Yes.
I would assume in that ballpark range. We do have some time to, further discuss what makes the most sense. We just want to make sure that we're in the process now of getting those bond resolutions adopted. That's what gives you the authority to go out and issue. You can issue either bonds or notes once that's adopted in place. But if you're looking to expend some funds and later reimburse yourself from borrowed monies, we want to make sure that those resolutions are at least in place.
So it's $1,950,000 plus cost.
Okay, I just want to be clear where, I see the 380, that's for the garage, which was a home that was purchased at the height of the market that we're refinancing now.
Yeah.
We're bonding because it's the payment of.
Right. Okay, that's,
Now we have no
Okay.
choice.
the capital projects, the equipment that we've already approved is the 789.
That's the specific,
Okay, so where does the extra money come from?
Right here.
the,
Yeah. I don't know. 77.
well, 787 is proposed, you have 1.4, that's currently outstanding, there are other ban items.
We're rolling everything in together.
Make it one bond.
That's for an old note.
It's from the other, because you used to have a 5-year ban, and every year
Correct.
you would pay one off, so
Right.
it's
Well,
rolled,
we-
so you still have 4 outstanding years.
It's not that we're bonding to have money for the future, but if we need to spend. It's for money
These are
that's,
things that were currently in a ban, a 5-year ban.
okay.
The
And
4
and
years.
what's the
interest we're saving on that?
I was just saying,
787.
I'm sorry?
What's the interest on that? Are we saving any interest on that 787, the old bond?
In terms of bonding it out now?
Yeah.
Well, what we've done in previous years, we've kept that as a bond anticipation note. Now, as we were indicating before, when we adopt bond resolutions for projects, it'll tell you how long we can finance. So, some of these items might have a 10-year life, a 15-year life that we can finance. What we've done in the past years is we've just been paying them off in 5 years. By doing that, it meant that we never came to that point that we were required to bond. We had some projects being paid off in certain years, and each in the new years we were putting new money out. So it's kind of a rolling thing. It meant that we never had to bond that out. That's what we had done in previous years. So if we'd like to move away from that this year and just bond everything out, then they're certainly you're putting into like a long-term financing at that point. We want to keep in mind there could potentially at some point be future needs. So we'll want to kind of set a course of action and try to decide on a plan for what that might be.
but the interest rate is what, 1.5?
I would assume right now with short-term rates for bond anticipation notes, we're seeing rates around 1%, perhaps lower. For serial bonds, it depends on how long we go out. Perhaps for a 15-year bond, you might see 2 3/4 or something to that extent. But the rates can range depending on how long we're able to out finance those.
The rate's higher with the bond.
Right, but still, we're seeing very, very low.
You're seeing very low interest
At
rates.
this point that we're trying to take advantage of.
The advantage with the bond is that you're locking in the rate,
Yeah,
where
you're
the
locking-
ban every year, when the
Right,
ban
exactly.
expires.
You're locking in, we've got historically low rates now, and we're gonna be able to lock those rates in for an extended period of time.
That is correct. But, one thing that you do also want to keep in mind is if we do elect to go out and issue serial bonds, most likely we're going to be financing those for a period of longer than 5 years.
Mhm.
I'll do the calculation. I'll let you know. We're legally allowed to go 15 years, 10 years, whatever the case may be. With these bond anticipation notes, you are going to see probably greater payments each year because we're paying them off only over 5 years, so you're paying more principal. So if we do issue a longer-term serial bond, although your payments are going to be smaller each year, you're going to be paying much more interest over the full life of it. So if you do have projects that are going to be coming up in future years that you're going to be considering either bonding or issuing bond anticipation notes for, those are some of the items that you want to just kind of bear in mind because we don't want to see the snowball effect happen where we elect to bond this and spread it out and then come down the line, we have other things to issue. So just some things to bear in mind. Certainly, I think either way, would make sense, but it's entirely the town's decision. We can help you in seeing both sides and all different angles of it.
Thank you. I believe there's been a motion. You just want to make it perfectly clear, the motion one more time, Mr. White?
A motion for what?
He's going to give it to you right now.
What's the problem?
This is very confusing to try to get the language down correctly.
That was-
Number,
It's a combination explanation of number 10.
And
Taking
11.
item number 10, 789,935, plus item number 2 of item number 12.
When you say that, that's the paperwork we got, it's not number 2 on the agenda.
Okay, capital bond anticipation note of 787,632, we're adding that, and we're adding the $370,000 land ban, that was item number 3 of item number 12.
That's the highway.
Those are the
For a
three-
total of,
$1,950,000 plus
plus cost.
costs. And I wanted it not to exceed a term of 10 years. But we have to do the analysis, but
Right.
one of them is 30 years.
That's correct. We'll see, once bond council will be in charge of actually drafting resolutions for the new projects. We have all of the resolutions for, the ban that's currently outstanding. Once we see what those useful lives are for all of the new projects, we can run that blended calculation and let you know the maximum term.
Okay, so we've had a motion.
Question. We had discussed last time, because we've had some roads that have been neglected over a long period of time, about putting some, doing some paving, putting some paving in this. Is that in this? Are we going to revisit that, or?
No additional amounts in it, so 3 sets of amounts here. Last time I made a resolution to a bond of $1,250,000, and we identified the difference. I was not aware in the original number, you had the 100 and some thousand in this
So
sheet,
you
which you
require
corrected.
that bond or?
So now after having the conversation, taking the 3, my concern was the savings aspect of it, bonding it, et cetera.
Right.
So, and I didn't see anybody really jumping into any other items but myself. So I'm making a proposal for this purposes right now, the way it is now. If you want to add more money to it, that, you can make that motion.
Well, we
Right
also
now-
didn't anticipate the retirement having to be moved into this, right?
No,
Retirement separate.
retirement is separate, but she had the retirement into this number. So this number was really 900 and something, and I moved it from $1,250,000. And then, but now in essence, the 3 of them together are $1,950,000.
So to answer your question, the answer is no, the 100,000, I think it was, for paving is not added.
It's not in,
No.
and we're not in it. Is that the consensus?
Motion.
That's
It's
not,
not-
but the motion was,
120 for
Yes.
Lake Road
Yes.
is in here.
it is in there.
120 for.
We didn't take anything out, we didn't add anything.
This is exactly the numbers that were in the budget for 2016.
With the exception of the addition of the 120 for Lake Road that was added after.
Yes, but that's included in this.
That's
Yes.
included,
Yes.
Why didn't I didn't see it?
It's in
Okay.
here under highway, under the second item,
Okay, there's been a motion
Oh, it just, okay,
120,000.
here it is, okay. Second.
and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Stanko, for coming, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, very happy.
Thank you, thank you.
Get some sleep.
I know, it's what everybody tells me.
Yeah, I just wanted to know.
No, let me get, thank you. Is that, we can for that. Number 4, request.
Okay? All the motions are here. just
Number 4,
remind-
request to purchase golf course machinery. I see Mr. Smythe is here. I almost didn't recognize him without his hat on though. Number 4, we have in front of us the Toro Sidewinder for 3500D, Toro 5410 Fairway Mower 4-wheel drive, 2 Toro Green Masters 1000, commercial air compressor, and a Miller Matil MIG welder. They're all New York State bid. They're all budgeted items. Correct, Mr. Smythe?
Yes.
I'm noticing the commercial air compressor, but I see that these are all New York State bids, so they do not have to go out for bid. So I'll make a motion to purchase the 5 that I just mentioned.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? The only discussion I'll have is I appreciate Mr. Smythe coming in early. I know he's got a couple of things on here. Here we are in February. Nobody's thinking about golfing except Joe and his crew up there, Dave. So I appreciate you getting this out to us early, so we're not running, at the very end trying to get it done.
I just want to point out these items are on the bottom, which is approved.
Yes, absolutely,
Part of
absolutely.
789,000.
In addition to the ones we approved last meeting, so.
Okay, so there's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 5 is to seasonal rehires of 2015. for the Patriot Hills Golf Course. We have the 10 in front of us. Joe, I believe they're probably all returning from last year.
Yes.
All returning from last year. This is Joe's grounds crew. And I'll make a motion to hire the seasonal rehires.
Second motion.
Been a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Do we have a salary?
The salary is at a 2.5% increase from last year as budgeted.
I have a sheet here.
Number 6 is to go out to bid for pesticides and fertilizers for the golf course as well. Make a motion for Joe to go out to bid for the pesticides and fertilizers.
Second motion.
Been a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Am I going too fast?
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Number 7. I'll give you time. Give you time. I'll wait. You sure? Number 7, approve purchase request for the buildings and grounds supervisor. This is from New York State bid as well, and on our list of equipment for a Jacobson 628 Turf Cat, all hydraulic, out front rotary complete. I'm not going to read the whole thing, we all know what it is. For a total of New York State contract price of $19,689.55.
This is a budget item?
This is one of the items that we just passed on our equipment list, and it is for Wilford McDonald for the Jacobson for $19,689.55. I'll make that in form of a motion.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Only that's also included in the budget.
Absolutely, yep. There's been a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 8 is BJ Networks. That's our contract. That's who does all of our computer work for the town. We've had this company with us for many, many years, as long as I've been on the board. And they need to renew their contract. And it's at a cost, I believe this is the same exact as last year. So I'll, motions, thank you. There's been a motion and a second for BJ Networks for a fixed fee of $2,400 commencing on February 1st, 2015 until January 31st, 2017, a fixed monthly fee. There's been a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 9 is a resolution for post-issuance bond compliance. This is from bond counsel advising us that this is what we need to do if we're bonding things, which we have. And the resolution is a resolution of the town board of the town of Stony Point, Rockland County, New York, authorizing and adopting post-issuance compliance policies and procedures related to the town's tax-exempt obligations. Such policies and procedures intended to ensure that the requirements imposed upon the town pursuant to the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, as amended, will be satisfied. I believe that's
Right, Harris Beach, our bond, our legal counsel recommended, being that we're going to be doing bonds and we're doing the taxable piece for the.
just hold on a second. There you go.
Harris Beach, which is our legal bond counsel, recommended that we issue this resolution, being that we're going to be doing these bonds, and also because we're going to be doing a taxable bond for the retirement payout, that it just is it's a procedure. It shows you what steps you have to do to make sure that you're in compliance and outlines it.
Okay. I have the motion so I'll make that in form of motion.
Second motion.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We did 10, 11, 12, 13. Number 14 is 2014 budget transfers. This is, we used to do once a year or twice a year, but we do it like 3 or 4 times a year now just to make it easier on bookkeeping. And this is for budget transfers, which I believe you handed out a new form this afternoon.
Right, there was some that was originally.
There was an addition.
There was addition.
Yeah. Please, before we receive that.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. White. There's been a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? So there's a motion and a second for the 2014 budget transfers. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 15, we're going to table. It's something that we don't really need to do tonight. And I added the public hearing, and I did the, I'm sorry, there's, yes. Yes, it's the Great American Cleanup. which I don't know how I got it, but I skipped 16 and got it 17. Great American Cleanup is something Mr. Grissom knows well about. This is every year we sponsor Keep Rockin' Beautiful. I'm looking for the date. Larry?
April 18th.
I don't want to say everyone's date, but I don't see it on here, but it is spelled on the bottom, so. This is, what do we normally do every year? Is it the $1,500 donation, or? I think we do the banner and T-shirt sponsor, correct? I'll make an informal motion that we support Great American Cleanup and Keep Rockin' Beautiful with a sponsorship of $1,500. And that is what we've done in the past many years.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That concludes our regular portion of the meeting, and remind everyone that we are closing this meeting in honor of our 100-year birthday celebration of Mr. Martello. And I would make a motion to go into executive session for PBA, not negotiation, but or what is it? Personnel matters and a possible grievance to talk about. Okay, there's been a motion to go into executive session. Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, and there will be no votes tonight after executive session.